mic issue. Okay, thanks, David. All right, we're going to get started in a minute. Chantal, you're streaming this, right? Okay. Well, get cracking, girl. Get cracking. Call out the Kraken. There we go. Now we're cooking. All right. Cooking with gas. Cooking with natural gas. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the 7-year note auction. We're starting very soon. And the 10-minute trades trade room. My name is Lee Goldstein, trading director for 10-minute trades. All trades we discuss are for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures. Please trade carefully. And we're going to get started. Now, I'm curious about something. There is a bug in, I don't know if you remember, yesterday, we were trying to trade the micro crude oil, and we got an error. Turns out NinjaTrader admitted there's a bug in the simulated portion of their software when you use the new micro oil future. I was just wondering if you have the same problem with the ultra bond, and it does not appear that I do. I think that my ultra bond also might have been enabled at a different time. See, there's some the brokers. It's mind-boggling how ignorant people are whose job it is to know certain things, and they don't know those things. So that makes them incredibly ignorant, as far as I'm concerned. The broker should know in a minute if you have to enable new instruments for an account, or if you can just add the instrument and it works. In the past, we've never had to enable a new micro future. Okay, when the MNQ, the micro NQ came out, and when the micro ES came out, and when the micro YM came out, you didn't have to call the broker and enable it for your account. As of yesterday, I spoke to 3 brokers, and I'm not going to say anything bad about Ninja in this case because they were the only one that gave me correct information. AMP had no idea what was going on. They were able to check if our data was working, and Optimus, those guys, they're definitely on the planet out of the consciousness of a normal human being. I don't know what planet they're on. Sometimes they're so rude in their chat. I would think that I must have murdered everybody in their office right before I did the chat, and that's how I'm being treated, when all I want to know is when a certain instrument expires. But they never know what's going on, except for one guy in tech support who's very good, named Jake. He always seems to know what's going on. But my point is, you got to do the research on. You can't even always trust the broker to give you the right information all the time. You have to double check. Now, Brian, you said that you had an issue with the ultra bond, and I don't believe that I have that issue. In other words, if I put a live chart on ultra bond, right, and I try to place an order pretty far away from the current order, it works for me. So I don't need Ultra Bond um, enabled on my account. It works. Okay. And Brian, tell me why you like the Ultra Bond so much. I don't know why you like it so much. I'm just curious. As opposed to the ZB. And you know what? This is somewhat related to the trade that we're doing today, folks, because in theory, you could be looking at the Ultra Bond as an instrument to potentially trade in these bond reports. So my interest is more of liquidity than anything else. I'm just strictly interested in the Ultra Bond liquidity compared to the ZB. So Brian, tell me why you like Ultra Bond, say, better than ZB. I'm just curious. So my ZB liquidity is on the left, and you can see liquidity on the dome, okay? And see, to me, the Ultra Bond liquidity is way worse, Brian. It's way worse than the ZB. And I thought, okay, you had a higher tick yield, you had better movement. Understood. I got you. So what Brian wrote this amazing software that he can look at an instrument and how it moves in an event. So in other words, you could take the jobs report and Brian can look at 8 different instruments and see which one moves the best. He wrote that software. I'm trying to talk Brian into making that software so that we could make it a part of JOBB. And I just can't seem to get him to do it, but I don't think it's simple to do. And, you know, he has other things he's more interested in, but I'm going to keep bugging him. Anyway, so we have a family trade, the 7-year note. The bond trades are family trades. There are better bond trades than others. Right now, the 20-year is my favorite. It's trading the best. 30-year is probably my second favorite. And then the 10-year and the 7, they're adequate. That's how I look at the 10-year and the 7. The 7 had a great trade, or a good trade, in March. If we go back to March, which is a little bit far, but if you look at the March trade, it was the trade of the week. I'm just watching and waiting, as the Moody Blues would say, watching and waiting for someone to understand me. I hope it won't be very long. One of my all-time favorite songs in the history of my life, Watching and Waiting by the Moody Blues. Great move on the 7-year note auction. Great move on the ZB, because that's what we trade. We trade the ZB. Even gold had a move. Even gold had a move back in March. Watching and waiting for someone to understand me. I hope it won't be very long. Dun, 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 dun. Sung by the immortal Justin Hayward of the Moody Blues. The Moody Blues were intact until Ray Thomas, the flute player, died about 4 years ago. I have really weird taste in music, but I love a lot of legacy corny acts. I would say the Moody Blues are probably corny legacy, but I always love them. I think they have some great songs. Nights in White Satin. I know you're out there somewhere, Somewhere, I know you're out there somewhere. Na, 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 na. I like the Moody Blues. But, Procol Ham, if you ever send me an email to my private email, my email is procol33 because I'm a Procol Ham fanatic. All-time favorite music in the history of humanity, as far as I'm concerned. Show me a better song than A Whiter Shade of Pale, or show me a better song than Pilgrim's Progress. Show me a better song than A Salty Dog. You can't. You just can't. A better song doesn't exist. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like, sign up for the channel. So we're supposed to have a bracket of 2, activate 130130, 60-second cancel, targets 2, 6, and 3 ticks, and 3 tick stop. Targets of 2, targets of 6, 3 tick stop. Let's look at last month's trade, because I do believe it was a stop. Let's see if it was for us. So our entry time is 1301.30. That's when our orders go on the chart. Can you all hear me okay? Because not a single person has said a word except Brian. Can you all hear me? Okay. Everybody's okay out there? This is the quietest trade room I've ever been in. I've been in a million trade rooms in my life. The 10-minute trades trade room is so quiet. Nobody yells at me. Nothing. Fred, you're too busy listening to me sing, right? I don't do my best singing in the trade room. And I don't do my best singing in the shower either. My best singing is behind me. All right, so last month it just barely filled us. Just barely. It went 3 ticks. I believe I was using, let's see, was I using a 3-tick bracket or a 2? How do you tell? The arrow, okay? The arrow shows you where your bracket is before the trade gets filled. Now, it's a little hard to see the arrow in the video today because it's the same color as my VWAP. What's a VWAP, you might ask? That we will save for another trade room. 159.28. Okay, I used a 2-tick bracket. Using a 2-tick bracket caused us to be stopped out on the trade last month. I just want to make that clear. I've been using 3-tick brackets, giving up a little bit of profit, but I don't like getting stopped out because the bracket is 2 ticks. I believe it's too small for bonds trades, especially the day after the FOMC statement. So I'm using a 3-tick bracket today. It could make me have a losing trade. I just want to be clear. Last month, it was not a very powerful move, as you can see. But it did not have to be a stop out if you want to use a 3-tick bracket. So what's the downside? There is a downside of using a slightly bigger bracket. Number one, your target is going to be 1 tick off, right? If you have a 2-tick target and you increase your bracket, you need really to increase your target by 1 tick also, right? The point of the extra tick on the bracket is In volatile markets, it just might prevent a stop out, which it did last month, but we got stopped because we used a 2-tick bracket. My notes in my trade journal, okay, and I'm going to hammer the same things every trade room until you all get the good habits that you should have. You should be keeping track of your trades. You should record them and you should journal them, okay? It's for your own benefit. It's not for me. I mean, it's for you. If you journal your trades, you'll remember what happened, okay? You'll remember what happened. Here's my notes from last month. 3-tick bracket only, broke my rule, got stopped out. That's my personal rule. The DMM uses 2-tick brackets. My boss doesn't agree with me. He does not agree. Does that make him right and me wrong? I don't think there's a wrong and a right with trading. Unless, you're blowing out your account every time you open a new account, then you're wrong, okay? But if you're making some money and you're reasonably successful and you're trading live, then the bracket you choose is the bracket that you use. Hey, I just created a whole new saying. The bracket you choose is the bracket you use. That has absolutely no meaning. Anyway, I'm not using a 2-tick bracket today, and it can cause a dull report to be a loser. That's the downside. But I want to really just get the big bond moves. I don't want the little ones because the little ones don't go anywhere. They're often flat. It's not so much that you lose money on them or a lot of money, because usually you don't. But they tend to be flat or they tend to be dull. They either move very nicely or they just putter around. Okay? Don't forget, everybody, come to the Amazon earnings room. I'm going to teach everybody the earnings setup again today. I'm posting videos. And next quarter, we're going to have 3 new family earnings trades. I'm telling you right now, if Amazon and Facebook and Tesla and Intel, we could have 5 family trades. If you practice a little bit so that you learn how to do the earnings setup, I'm telling you now, I'm making Netflix a family trade. I'm making Tesla a family trade because I think it's real tradable. I'm making Intel a family trade. Facebook, Amazon, Apple, all family trades. If they trade pretty much by themselves. Google almost never trades by itself, so I doubt if it'll be a family trade. But if Facebook trades like it did yesterday, without other major stocks doing earnings the same day, then it's a family trade. Otherwise, it's not. Like this week, Google and Microsoft were at the same time. Not a family trade. Maybe one of them you could take as a family, but really, in all honesty, when you have 2 major companies that we would trade in our method using the NQ as a proxy, it can only be a family trade if the probability of the profit is real good. That means it's got to trade pretty much by itself. Apple is always going to be a family trade, because Apple always trades by itself now. And even with the change in the markets, it showed this week that it's still trading the same way. even though the market doesn't close anymore. Apple got easier to trade. And that's the truth. Here's our setup, my setup for the 7-year note. My setup. Bracket of 3. I've got one target for 2 ticks, one target for 6 ticks. My stop is 3 ticks, 1 for 2, 1 for 6. My stop is 3. Our entry time is 13 Eastern time now, 13:01:30. That's when our orders show up on the chart. It's a 60-second cancel rule. 60-second cancel. If you don't get filled, you can cancel in 60 seconds, right? I'm listening to Financial Juice talk about the auction. That's why I got quiet. That's why I got quiet. Okay. See, there's volatility in bonds. I don't want a 2-tick bracket. I just don't. It's a breakout trade. I'm trading real money. I'm going to label it. ZB is the instrument I'm trading, and it's the 7-year auction, right? When you label a trade, what happens is it will show up in the control panel after you apply it and okay it, put your charts on live. Now, I don't even have to enable it. It'll show up under strategy labeled ZB 7-year note auction if you hover over it. All you have to do is hover over it. Even if you don't hover over it, you'll still see it, right? See how you can see it? Ninja has a lot of hovering that it can do. You can hover over various items, and they don't tell you anything extra, which is ridiculous if you think about it. If you are going to hover and it's going to highlight something, it might as well describe what you're hovering over, don't you think? I think so. Like when you hover over our software choices, right? A lot of you probably don't even know this. If I hover over ticks above the range, it tells you what it means. Or at least part of what it means. It can't fit everything in. Position 3, number of contracts to trade. Position 2, 0 is off. Stop loss ticks. Distance of initial stop loss and ticks. Okay, hovering can be really useful if it tells you something extra. In Ninja, you just hover and it just highlights what you're hovering. It's like, hey, I'm a lazy programmer. Let me hover and tell you nothing extra. So, you know, I'm kind of a mild-mannered ranter, okay? I rant in a mild-mannered way. I mean, some people would say I'm ranting right now, but I'm not yelling and screaming, but I am ranting, I guess, a little bit. Time.is is the website we go to check our time sync, okay? Time.is. My trade is on. My recorder's working. Let's look at, we looked at last month's, we looked at March. Let's look at, I don't have the video of May, but I have a slight profit. We had a little bit of a profit in May, it looks like. Yeah, not bad. 193 in May. Okay. And then in April, I think April was kind of dull, if I remember. That's usually what people say about me after the first date. He was kind of dull, sort of like the 7-year note auction. That's what everybody says after my first date. You're just like the 7-year note auction. You're dull. Now, come on, that's funny. Folks, that's funny stuff. So here comes the 7-year note auction in April. Very slow response. Very slow. Does not always mean it's going to be dull. Doesn't always mean it's going to be dull. Remember, 60-second cancel. It filled in 55 seconds. And it was pretty dull. It filled and it's sitting right at the entry. Right at the entry. Sometimes the bond trades, they're painfully dull. That's just the way they are. Sometimes they're great. We could check our time one more time because I'm a lunatic for time. Now, I've got a bunch of people watching on YouTube. How about a couple of you hit the like button? Come on. Hit the like button. We're doing this for free. We're streaming for free. We're giving away our secrets. I would like that if I was like on YouTube looking for trading ideas. That's worth a like, isn't it? Give me a like. Time.is helps to sync your computer. Still no likes. Okay, YouTube. No more streaming. How about that? No more streaming. No likes, no stream. It's only fair. No like, no stream. I'm watching the ZN on the right. I'm trading the ZB on the left. Still no likes. All right, is there a hate button? Somebody press the hate button. That will get pressed. Hate. So don't forget, 13:01:30 is your entry time, right? I'm using a 3-tick bracket. You can use a 2. 2 or 3 is allowed. 1 position for 2-tick profit, 1 position for 6-tick profit. That's position 2. Stop loss is 3. Entry 13:01:30 is 1:01 and 30 seconds. It's a breakout trade, and it's the ZB. The 30-year bond is our proxy for the auctions. Okay? Tomorrow, we have an 8 o'clock trade room. It's a new report. If you like learning about new reports, come into the room. I know it's early, but for East Coasters and people overseas, come into the room. It's an interesting report. I'm going to trade it live in our test account. And it might be a report that is something we're going to be trading. I don't know that it's a family trade yet. It's too soon, but isn't it fun to see the genesis of how something becomes a family trade? I think it's kind of fun. But I mean, this is how I get my kicks. You know, I don't download triple X rated movies. I don't fight with everybody I meet. I get my kicks by trading and testing news reports. I guess I need a psychiatrist because some people, hey, we got a like. Thank you, YouTube. I guess some people would think that I'm crazy. I'm not. I just have a lot of passion for this job. That's the truth. If you don't like what you do, you're not going to have a fun life. That's the absolute truth. If you like what you do, you're going to have a great life, even if you don't make a ton of money. Although I'd rather hate what I do and make a ton of money. If I had the choice, right? Choice number one, make a ton of money no matter what. Choice number two, make no money at all, love what I do. Choice number three, make a ton of money loving what I do. Actually, that's choice number one. Choice number 76 would be make a lot of money driving around in a convertible. No. All right. 30 seconds and our orders are going to show up on the screen. That's one tick. Okay. That candle is one tick. Our orders are going to show up at 13:01:30, and we don't want to get filled before the news comes out, before the auction comes out. Okay? So I'm just waiting. 60 seconds is our cancellation rule. I guess I'll follow it, right? Even after that big discussion this morning about should you cancel, this has been a very difficult trading day. Now, I made a little bit of money, but I should have made a lot more. I should have made a lot more. For some reason, it took me out of the trade, and I only made $100. Not quite, $97.50. It should not have taken me out of the trade, and the reason it did is because I've just had a difficult day with fills and speed. Fills and speed. Everybody should have made money. Did anybody else make money? I made $97. Okay? I made $97. I'm going to look at my executions. Before I look at my executions, okay. Look at my executions. And I should have made more than that. I sold 3. Well, wait, that doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense today. Nothing makes sense today. I did not make as much money as I should have. $36 for Fred. TJ, I don't understand why you would have lost money on that. Remove your strategy. Remove your strategy. Remove your strategy from the control panel, okay? I got filled at 06, and I see what happened. With the naked eye, you could not see. I made 2 ticks of profit, and then it backed up and took me out of the trade flat. Okay, so I made 2 ticks of profit. I made $75, 62.50, 62.50. And it's funny, some people are saying that they had trouble on the ZB. It looks like the ZN was better today. It does look like the ZN. You can trade the ZN. You really can. You can trade the ZN. It's been a little bit difficult day today, folks, but that was a winning trade. I made 62.50. 62.50. Although, yeah, that's right, 62.50. So, and frankly, it's okay. I'm okay with the fact that it only made 2 ticks. It's nobody's fault that it moved so fast and went down and up. You didn't even see the up move with the naked eye, okay? You could not see the up move with the naked eye. I'll show you the proof of that. If you look at a range chart, if I can find it, if you look at a range chart, a one range, put it on the instrument you traded, ZB921 is what I traded. Look, this is every tick of movement. So it filled me down here, right here at 06. It gave me profit at 04, 2 ticks, my first target, and then it went back up and stopped me out flat. So it is what it is. Made 2 ticks. 2 ticks. But look at the movement. You don't see that all the time. It's every single little tick. And we didn't see it go back up with the naked eye, but it did. It went back up all the way up. Way up. That's what the range chart will do for you. One range. It will show you. It could have been an awesome trade. It could have been an awesome trade. But because it popped up, it wasn't a straight move down. And that's just bad luck. It's nobody's fault. But I am surprised. I guess if people had bad fills, then you could have not had a winning trade. It's possible. Fills are so important. Fills are so important. But listen, this is a little bit harder this week. You know, we've been spoiled because everything is working perfectly. This is the first week everything hasn't worked perfectly. So don't get discouraged. I'll say it a million times. Do not be discouraged, ever. This is a great way to trade, folks. Wait till the new trades get added. We're going to add more and more, I'm telling you. Don't get discouraged if you have a couple of losers. Just don't. Jeff, it's a great question. How often do you change the brackets? So, Jeff, do you want me to be brutally honest, or do you want me to lie? Because if I lie, I will not endanger the company making money. Would you rather I'm brutally honest, or I put my company out of business? Which do you prefer? Chantal, you want to end the stream? YouTube, thank you very much for watching. I would love to see one like before you go. And we'll see you tomorrow for personal income and spending.